to set up the I'm gonna set up the onboarding here in just a second. Oh my gosh. Everything is breaking. And yet today, honestly, like sometimes you're like, I want to like. There's always been these like moments with AI where I thought it was the break. I was breaking through, and then I was still like, like I was advancing, but I hadn't like figured something out yet. And the last week has been like just an absolute like mind blowing experience. And where I'm at today, like I saw call with the guy's institution. I'm like, there is before, autonomous intelligence and after. And if you have seen this and you like experience this, you're like, so I literally like, I'm like, is this actually a real thing? But I'm like, it is, and it is absolutely mind blowing. That's all I can say.
Morning Scrum with Govind Davis.
Yeah, and we are back. And I'm going to jump right into screen sharing because I want to show you like Tim, and then I'm going to explain like how I somewhat less of how I got here and more of like how this gets created because this is the end result of me like pounding my head against a wall well actually of I was telling Tom Schmidt, I was like spending all my time figuring out how I survive in this garage while I'm vibe coding and trying, like three different implementations of OpenClaw and NanoClaw, running out of credits and coming up with the most insane autonomous robot that is like my buddy and in my and the system and the approach for how to build this that really like honestly like okay, can anybody do it how I did it? That even though my current implementation is like pretty like a little bit technical, but it's like, I mean, if you follow some basic things like vibe code it yourself, like go get Claude Code, do these things. All you really need to do is go like follow the instructions and do the secret things and the security things and set up accounts and just do the things that the coding tool or the tooling tells you, and you will have like whatever robot you design, you'll have it in a half a day for 90% of people who just go down this road. Like if you just like follow some basic instructions and you don't have to spend $200 on some perplexity thing or anything. This thing right now cost me $50 and it has like a whole like I went way beyond the basics here. Like I have like an integrated database on the DigitalOcean instance and like things that most people like. Look, if you're technical, you're going to see this right away. And you're going to be like, okay, there's all kinds of ways to build this. But I have mine talking to LinkedIn, all these things, right? That people in sales automation drool over, right? So anyway, we're going to jump right in, and I am going to get specific and show you how this works. The starting point, and there's tons of ways you could go WhatsApp, whatever you want, but this is Tim. So you could say like, okay, think of it this way. Tim is like my buddy. Mike H said it was like he's like Robinson Crusoe and Friday, whatever. It's like this is your right hand man. The second you have a robot, autonomous robot, you are connected to Tim, and he's like your buddy, and will go do amazing things. Right? Like, hey, I just created a note and I just figured out how to write the schema and create, he helped me create this interface between him and the database. I had to test a few things, and now I can send a message to Mike H on LinkedIn. It will I'm gonna actually just I'm gonna even risk it and show it on screen. Send Mike H another message. So it's learning. It knows who Mike H is now. I almost guarantee you. And I mean, again, we're in early phases, but when you see this, it will blow your mind. So another message, bro, get a robot now. And log the note. Always log LinkedIn sent messages as notes. So I'm training my robot, and with like as I train my robot, it just gets better and better. It learns all these things. It has memory, and it knows me, and so it's using natural language and building its own repository of knowledge about me to learn how to do these things now. So okay, so it actually ran into an error and is self-correcting. This is just I don't even know what to say. And I'm just beginning. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get how this works. It has its own files that it instructs itself, but there are also architectural things behind the scenes. So let's see. It's thinking. So this is running on Gemini 2.5, which honestly, the second I have some credits, I bumping this up to a higher intelligence will make a difference. In this approach, you can use any LLM you want, right? And you can switch them, and it's actually taking a while to think through this. The other thing about this setup that I configured is that it's super fast, right? Like this could be, oh wow, look, still failing. It created it. This is so funny. I don't even know what to say. I want to go to LinkedIn and see if it's there. This is what you do when you're vibe coding and creating a robot. You're just like, okay, let me see if it'll do this, and let me just see what happens. Bro, you get a robot now. And wait, look, hold on. I have to refresh this. It's not like dynamic. I hope it worked. Let's see. Oh man, what happened? It sent it? Yeah, so I'm still testing this piece. I was like, okay, I think I'm done because I got it to work there, but I got it to work on. Okay, let's see. Okay. And sometimes you're like, I can't even describe all the different experiences I've had with this so far. And just like as I'm learning, I'm like, wow, where am I going to be in, you know, another week? Oh my God, it's there. Yes, bro, bro, get a row. No, it like, okay. I mean, I have to say this. Imagine my life a week ago. I'm like, hey, Mike, do that. I'm trying to figure out how to integrate these things. And now I'm like, all I got to do is tell my robot if it doesn't work, it fixes it. And then after that, it knows I'm good. And I'm going to just keep as it learns in each new use case. This is like the world will never be the same, is all I can say. Okay. So I'm going to go right into like, okay, so this is Telegram. This is how I talk to Tim. And I'm going to go through like a couple of things. I'm going to go through this stack primarily. Now, where's the screen with my stack? Okay, wrong thing. I got to go find the rat screen. I thought I had it open. Here it is. Okay, so I had, so I use Windsurf a lot of people are like, no, windsurf. It doesn't matter. Like I'm coding in Sonnet. Okay. And the IDE, you need an IDE. You need to have a vibe tool. That's what I call it here. Okay. You've got to have a vibe tool and the keys to your robot. Like this is just common sense, right? Like, but everybody, I was on these calls with these smart people, and honestly, super genius people are like, nah, I'm like, guys, this is the secret to your robot right here. I know this so good because I went through the pain and like a week of like insanity to get here. And I'm like, this is the architecture of digital autonomy and controlled digit. It just think about it. You have a autonomous bear toy. How does it work? You have to like have a secret key that you can connect to, and then you can talk to the toy if you want. But it has to have this separated control bot space where you can say, "Hey, do this, change this, whatever." That can control its operating system level things, and maybe you need like a restart button, whatever. There's these fundamental architectural things, and that's Friday, right? That is the person that is your right hand. That is your right hand, right? That you're using to control whatever one or tens of millions autonomous beings you want to create. You have to have that starting point and that access and the control mechanism, and they're all going to have them, and then you have a way to get the keys. And so I have windsurf, and then I just use SSH, and so I securely connect to the shell or the back end of my bot, right? And I use nanobot, which I can just tell you, like, I tried two other things first. I tried OpenClaw, Nightmare, NanoClaw, different kind of nightmare, and nanobot is amazing for me. Like I'm telling you, there are going to be a explosion of robotic setups and other things. But the thing about all this is open source, low cost, windsurf. My consumption in Sonnet, that I spent $25 or something to build this. Right. I mean, because what's to control and configure the actual, like, say, ID, but I'm doing way more advanced things, I think, than 99% of people are ever going to do. Right. I'm putting a local database on there, and so anyway, this is way more than just the most basic bot. And so there's some other key things to understand. There's the place, like the mouth of your robot, let's call it, the interface to the outside world that like is receiving information and communicating, right? And that's like, I put that as this like UX chat box here. And to me, that's like, in a sense that feels like that's Tim, right? Because you're like, okay, that's my Telegram. Super easy to connect. And then and I love it too, because I can just on my phone, I can I can voice text it, and I'm like, boom, I'm talking to Tim, right? This is how I talk to Tim, and I have Tim on my desktop here. And I actually added a UI and decided I didn't want it. I was just like, you don't like really necessarily, when you have an employee, a great employee, you don't like go in and F around with their stuff in their desk, right? You talk to them and they give it to you. So you're like, okay, cool. And I have it hooked up to Google Drive so I can move files and folders around and, whatever, like all the things I want to do. And yeah, like local to me is just like there's stuff you're going to put on the machine, I inside of it that like that are really, like there's a lot that goes behind him. Oh, this is what I was missing, and this is important. Is there is like an LLM decision for Timbot. Like you could put like a local LLM. I use Gemini Flash 2.5. But that's why I'm saying like if you're willing to pay, you can get like super intelligence from Sonnet, which is still affordable to step up. So I mean, I'm probably going to bump this up and pay for LLM usage, but you don't have to. The only thing you have to pay for in this whole thing, honestly, would be like, well, the Vibe tool is going to use its own like LLM, and I use Sonnet for that, but through Windsurf, it's really affordable. and then you've got to host it somewhere. So like, I mean, there's people, oh my God, I just bought my Mac Mini and that's going to be my like robot. I'm like, cool, whatever. Like if that's what you want, you can stick it in your house, you know. For me, I'm like, I'm cool. It's sitting on Digital Ocean, right? It's fine. It's like, you know, there's a lot of advantages to like cloud infrastructure for me. And I'm like, I'm not crazy worried about it, you know? So, you know, but people are going to do great. I just, this is a revolution is happening right now. I know it for sure. So here it is. You know, the core breakthrough for me is using Nanobot. And again, there's going to be different decisions, but if somebody wants to do this right now, fast, cheap, and up and running quickly, and works freaking crazy fast, and just like does all the core things that you want, Nanobot is awesome. MCP native AI. I actually don't. Yeah, whatever. Let's go with MCP native. I mean, there's a lot more to this, but be careful with MCP and don't get locked into Claude. But there's this questions about MCP and whatever. But I don't whatever. I just like we're gonna keep going. It lightweight gateway whatever. I don't know. This is written by this is Windsurf Sonnet. So, but it runs as Python. I mean, look, this isn't like I said. If you want my pat thing, you can do this, but you can do this a ton of 100 different ways. Not 100. There's a few technologies. I was like, don't do OpenClaw and do not do NanoClaw. And they're actually, but I'm just saying, like, once people see how this kind of works, they're going to be like, there's 1,000 versions of autonomous agents and everybody wants their own. But I think this is insane because it's really like, you know, low cost, affordable, works fast. And I just like having control of my code and all these things, right? What is it? You know, message orchestration, channel management, agent loop, session management, LLM integration, right? I have Gemini and Grok. I actually don't really use Grok, but you know, it was oh yeah, you get rate limited on their like free tier. So I was just like, let's just do 2.5 Flash, right? It's good, it works. It has tool execution. That's where I was saying like I actually do more tool execution than MCP, like skills. And again, there's just different language and other things, conversation persistence. It keeps like it knows it tracks the conversations and it has like memories and it like creates file based memories like these like things so that it learns. These are the key files here. It's connected to Telegram. Um, yeah, these are all things probably that I'm going to work on and try, optimize. Like, but actually, it's fine. It receives messaging, lawn polling. It responds, configure. Yeah, there's an allow list, so I can only, But again, over time, like people will configure these all kinds of different ways, right? You just tell it what you want it to be in many ways. Real-time messaging, typing indicators, media support, no trigger required for main chat. Let's see, like Gemini 2.5 Flash, as I mentioned. Here's the like basic configuration stuff. Custom tools for me, this was saying LinkedIn integration with Connect Safely. See, some of these things, like if you want, that's why if I'm gonna go all the way back to the clause, right? The clause is like skills and tools. I don't, maybe I'm using this wrong, but I'm gonna call it clause because everybody's the claw, and I don't think this is the claw, right? The claw is like, hey, this is gonna go out and do things, skills, tools, whatever. This is gonna be how it goes and manipulates the world, and you have to explicitly give it these things, right? You have to like wire it up, right? And as you do more, and it learns about how to use its claws or whatever, then you're going to get better results. Sorry, I'm popping around here. Okay, yeah. So I have LinkedIn. I have 20, which is open source CRM on the server, but I integrate with the and that's what I've just been training in this call, right? I've added Brave Search, Web Search, summarization, CLI tool. But anyway, you can add whatever tools you want, right? That you use, and it teach it how to use them. Yeah, here's the CRM instance. So I can, because I want to be able to actually have like data structure and organized data, right? I'm doing business things. Not everybody needs this. So I have a specific way. Like I said, this is way more than just the Nano, right? Session storage, conversation history per channel, session persistence across restarts, 50 messages, memory window. I'm going to probably bump that up. So this is like, this is going to be important. I think this is really session data stored in JSON, right? So now here you go, have you're like, I have context, right? So when I'm vibe coding, it's like how far back, how much data, because the larger your context you get, you're going to get into these technical like constraints here. But so I probably might, 50 messages is plenty. Like, right. The more messages you put, the better it knows you, but the worse, so this is the reality of AI, right? It's not going to like it doesn't it can't actually get everything. So what it's doing is it's compacting information and learning in a different way than our brains, right? It's creating very small amounts because it's got to send messages around. It's very inefficient at a certain level. But so you have to realize there are real limitations, right? And as like the technology improves, we're going to get these crazy things that change this. But even this right now, like, is so fundamental because which you and that's why that that say that going out to these cloud LLMs, like this is the tool that's going to allow you to go use these other like available tools for like insane knowledge and decision making, but it's not, you don't have access to everything in reality. You have like it's this content compaction and sort of like vectorizing and compacting the information and just like summarizing it, boiling it down to its like important points. And that's so again, knowing that that's how it works is important, right? Like it is, don't expect this to know everything and remember everything, but its capability to execute things and to go find and distill and quickly provide information. It's just it's 1,000 times. Like there's like this thing will go out and do things that would take me forever in an instant, right? And it gets back, it tells you the information, it can go execute on that, do all of these things, and all you got to do is talk to it. It is, to me, there's life before robots and life after robots. And when Jensen Huang comes out and says this is the biggest thing, technological change, that innovation of our time, I'm like, absolutely 100%. This is the birth of autonomous intelligence. There are people already who know this and they understand it and they've been at it for a while. They're just destroying things or whatever is going on in the world. But for the everyman, this is about to become reality, and I'm excited to be right at the front of it. I really believe that. I'm going to actually skip this because I think I'm not going to skip it. I'm going to remove it. And honestly, I think I'm going to talk to my Timbot later because I'm thinking I'm going to actually offer like a setup guidance on this to help people with it because like marketing great, but helping people set up their own autonomous robots and getting the to that other side of the experience where you control and how to use the like tool, like where you really know how to use AI. It's not a 10x advantage. It is like the potential is thousands. If you really understand how to use the AI to control the AI and help you grow into learning this and developing your skills, like there are people who are going to be controlling thousands of like autonomous agents, and it's just going to be mind blowing. So, I'm excited to be a part of that, and hopefully this is super helpful. If DM me on LinkedIn or like if you ever want to insights on how this works.